you can't get more invested in the United States of America than being born Black here. We inherit a legacy of having made the place. So I prefer to flip it. We're the most American. We're the most patriotic. We've fought in more of the wars, and we've been here a very, very long time. So we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our ancestors, and we owe it to our future to claim our power. It's not begging to participate in something foreign. It's showing up and claiming something that we already have a right to.
Real Talk is about highlighting real issues with real conversations to create real solutions.
Welcome to another episode of Jordan Real Talk. Joining me today to talk about civic engagement and mobilization are Baratunde Thurston from How to Citizen podcast, Brittany Packnett Cunningham, host of the podcast Undistracted, regular contributor to MSNBC, and fellow at Harvard Institute of Politics, and NFL star safety, Super Bowl champion, and Jordan Brand family member, Tyrann Mathieu. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to dive into how civic engagement, why civic engagement, what's most important when we talk about civic engagement. But we can't talk about any of that without first understanding institutional racism, systemic bias, and oppression in this country. I'm gonna go straight to my dear sister, Brittany Packnett Cunningham, to give us a quick 101 on racism in America.
I often say that if you understand the roots of the tree, you will understand the fruits of the tree. So if the roots are enslavement, are genocide of indigenous people, are the theft of indigenous lands, and the building of a country on the backs of enslaved people, as you always say, Angela, we built this joint for free. If we understand those to be the roots, then the fruits are what we are experiencing right now. This idea that your vote doesn't count anyway, so why show up? Pervading our communities, our social media, and so many of the platforms that we use. So this is how it continues to manifest today, specifically on the issue of voting. And part of why it's so important for us to show up is that we have to overwhelm the suppression that is being forged and waged against us.
One of the things that we should be doing as we have this and continue to have real talk and talk about real solutions is talk about all of the ways where Black Lives Matter is now showing up. It's showing up in email signature lines. It's showing up on basketball courts. It's showing up on the backs of jerseys, but it's still not showing up in equitable practices. What does the path look like as we try to go forward, Baratunde, to ensure that Black Lives Matter in all of the many ways that they just must?
The path is long, and there's a lot of hills on it, because we've been on it for a long time, from well before this version of the slogan was born, Black Lives Matter. I think in the spirit of real talk, getting people to show up also involves respecting them enough to show up before we need something from them. And so many times when folks approach the Black community for elections, it's very transactional. It is with a hat-out or a handout for a vote from a politician that no one's ever heard of before, that's never been there before, that's never done anything for the community before. So we've got to remind people through political education, we have to show them the respect to be there before we need something from them, to encourage them to live Black Lives Matter through multiple modes of power, including voting power.
Love it. And so, Tyrann, I want to come to you because there is a lot of conversation. Black Lives Matter got so cool over the summer, even though many of us have been yelling it since Trayvon Martin was killed. What do you tell them?
I think anytime, we have an opportunity to have these kind of dialogues for us to really sit in it, for us to try our best to paint the picture for everybody. It's unfortunate that it's taking people dying and, people losing their jobs and, people going homeless and people going hungry for us to kind of start to have these conversations about equality.
Brittany, talk about what the next steps have to look like for us to really see progress, to keep our folks encouraged, to keep them inspired and wanting to not only go to the ballot box, but also to stay on the streets until we really reach equality and equity?
That's a fantastic question, Angela, because we have to remember that the most important office in this entire country is not the office of president. It is not Supreme Court justice. It is not governor, mayor, or city councilor. It is the office of citizen. We are the ones who hold power. All of those folks who are elected and appointed, they derive their power from us. So the power that we have is one that we need to continue to harness, not just by November 3rd, which is election day, but every single day before and thereafter. That it is about showing up at the ballot box and holding those folks accountable that end up being elected, whether you voted for them or not, because they work for you. They work for all of us.
Yeah, Tyrann, I want to talk to you a little bit about your own experience. I know you've shared that this is the first election you'll be voting in. What prompted you to stand up and say, you know what, I got to get engaged this time. I've got to vote? I
truly felt like it was my responsibility, with everything that's going on in the world, the racial divide. I had to put my vote in. I had to take part in this election. And like I tell people, it's not always about, making it, in this dream world. It's not necessarily being a great football player. It's how can I really create change, in my community? Like, how can I fix the way these young boys think, these young ladies think about themselves? I think it's cool to have, people run for district attorney offices and, trying their best to be the face of their state, not necessarily the face of a football team.
Tyrann, it sounds like you might think politics is cool enough to run yourself. Is that where we're going with this? Let me find out. Tyrann 2024. Let me find out. That's what we doing. What is missing from our political process? When people tune out, they're so tired of people not telling them the truth. What do you say to them, Britt?
I say first we should start telling people the truth about where the money goes. Budgets are moral documents. And there are a lot of decisions being made about what is going to happen in our everyday lives. What kind of food our young people are going to eat when they go to school. I would tell them to be honest about where the money is going and be held accountable for where the money should go. We should actually be investing money into the communities, the people, and the services that keep us well, and divesting from the institutions that continue to harm and hurt us.
For somebody at home, they're like, a budget? I don't do well at managing my budget. What kind of budget are you talking about? So they're clear.
I'm talking about the budgets that run your city, your town, your community. So when you pay your taxes, all of that money goes into a pot. The people that you have elected and the folks that they have appointed decide where that money goes. That money goes into schools, it goes into roads, it goes into fire stations, it goes into police stations. It goes into the social services that we are supposed to have at our disposal: mental health supports, healthcare, housing, all of those things that our communities need to be well. These are the kinds of choices that are being made most often by people who are on the city council or your board of aldermen. Those folks are deciding the budget for your community, and they're using your tax dollars to put it in places that you may not agree with. That's why we have to pay attention to the city budget and the community budget, just like we pay attention to our household budget.
When you think about the moments that happened this summer that turned into movements, how do we ensure, Brittany, for once and for all, that we never lose sight of how important it is for us to be not only proactive in our politics, but in our civic engagement overall?
Well, frankly, in the spirit of real talk, we stop that nonsense about not being our ancestors. This idea that we are not our ancestors because we throw hands, or we're tougher, or we're stronger, or we're smarter, or we're faster. Listen, if our ancestors were not all of those things times 10, we wouldn't be here. Our ancestors had to do far more with far less than we have now. And if Harriet could keep going, and if Ida B. Wells could see the vision when nobody else could see it, and if Fannie Lou Hamer could say, I don't care if you didn't build this system for me, I'm coming in and tearing your stuff up anyway, because you will respect my presence and my humanity, that's precisely what we need to get like so that we can actually embody the courage and the bravery that they showed us how to embody. I don't believe that there is no place that we don't belong. The ballot box, the U.S. Senate, the U.S. Supreme Court.
That's real talk.
Yes, Britt.
Every single place we step, especially as Black people in this country that we built, belongs to us and is our rightful place.
I cannot wait to vote for Brittany Packnett Cunningham.
Don't forget Tyrann's running too. I'm going to hold them to this.
I'm voting for everybody on the screen right here. I'll vote for you too, Angela.
No, I'm not running. Baratunde, I want to come to you. When we think about movements that inspire us to continue to keep going, you shared on these programs, getting with friends, to fill out ballots, to make sure y'all are super educated. I would just want to ask you, as you know, we come to the close of this series, and then what? Right? After we fill out those ballots, in those moments where we have to hit the streets because enough is enough, then what? Democracy literally means people power. We have to have a presumption of participation. This is not a lean back sport. This is a lean forward experience. So activity, presence is a part of it. We have to understand the layers of our power: voting, money, ideas, mobilization, and a few more things. And recognize, even if you're not able to vote, you still have power in the system to use that. And the last one is, we got to do all this for the benefit of the many, not just the few. Because when we recognize that the other person is also a part of us, that we're connected to them, then their gain is not our loss. It's all of our gain together.
Sometimes it's actually about rolling up our sleeves ourselves and deciding to run for office or staff a campaign or do some fundraising for a candidate we believe in, or knock on some doors and recruit some other voters and volunteers. Ultimately, whatever way we decide to contribute, we have to remember always that the power does not belong to those who sit on seats, in seats that we often deem as traditionally powerful. The power does and has always belonged to us. So we need to wield it at every opportunity that we have. So stay focused, stay engaged on Election Day and far beyond.
Thanks for that. And Ms. Packnett, Brittany, you're killing it. I'm so happy to be doing this with you. Like what she said, just retweet. Can you verbally retweet someone? That's the major key alert. As we get ready, you all, for the most important election of our lifetimes, what are our final, most impassioned words that we can deliver to folks who still don't know if they're going to the polls and if they'll engage beyond this election? What will you say to them? And this is our time, really to show impact, to show change, to show community, to show that, what our ancestors did and what so many people have done before us, to give us this opportunity. Like it's such a great responsibility, but this is our time. Brittany, if this is our time, how can we reclaim it? Starting with the vote.
You teach people how to treat you. And if we teach the powers that be, those who sit in government, that we are willing to give up our power and let them make all of the decisions without us ever having a say, then they will continue to do things in our name without our approval over and over and over again. The second thing is, I can show you better than I can tell you. So yeah, we're going to tweet about it. We're going to Facebook about it. We're going to talk about it. But I'd rather us not just tweet about it and not just talk about it, but actually go and vote about it, because that is what will help make the difference. And lastly, nothing about us should ever be decided without us. I'm not letting somebody else design my future without my say.
I love that. When you don't vote, someone else still does. When you don't show up, someone else still does. When you don't harass the city council, someone else still does. When you don't call that senator, someone else is in his or her ear. And they're making choices that maybe are not in your interest. So stepping out of that is relinquishing something that you have a right to, and is putting your power in someone's hands who does not have your interest at heart. So don't leave any of your power unused. Claim it, grab it, use it,
in your interest.
Brittany started today by saying that the most important office is the office of the citizen. Baratunde told us that we are the most American. Don't let anyone take your citizenship for you. You do that first by exercising your franchise, by going to the polls, by ensuring everyone around you knows their power and goes to the polls. Your Black life does matter. This is Jordan, Real Talk. Thank you, guys.
Yay.
Yes.
Now that you all are convinced about the significance of your vote and how important this election year is, let's go over your ballot checklist. You should only use blue or black pen. Don't fill your ballot out on a wet surface. Be sure to sign your ballot. Ensure you write the complete date. Include your identification and any relevant documentation. Lastly, send your ballot in on time or drop your ballot off to ensure that it gets there. The most important thing to remember is that the election is not around the corner, the election is now.